Hey, Potterheads, and welcome to episode 13 of the Secret Keepers podcast, covering Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, chapters 6 through 8. Previously on the Secret Keepers. He also gets his Hogwarts class list from McGonagall and a note that says third years are allowed to visit what place, Jared?
Oh, Hogsmeade.
Yes.
Yep. Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade. Going to Hogsmeade.
And then, all of a sudden, as Jared said, Aunt Marge starts blowing up like a balloon and floating into the sky and sees the hulking outline of something very big with wide, gleaming eyes. Jared, what is this?
The Death Omen.
And then, just then, with a loud bang, the night bus shows up.
He bang!
You found over, folks.
That's what I wanted to get to.
Black is mad. He's a danger to anyone who crosses him, magic or muggle.
Hermione has actually bought that very cat. And what's that cat's name?
Oh, it's just like Scooch. Oh, Crookshanks. That's what it is.
I'm going to call it Scooch.
Fred and George
man.
gained serious points in this first fight.
Oh man, when I read that again, I was cracking up.
Big head.
And Black keeps muttering he's at Hogwarts.
So maybe the rat saves the day.
And standing in the doorway, illuminated by the shivering flames in Lupin's hand, was a cloaked figure that towered to the ceiling. Its face was completely hidden beneath its hood. This is the Secret Keepers.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Secret Keepers. I would like to start this episode off with a sincere apology. Last week, I don't know if you guys were aware, but I gave Taylor a lot of grief about his microphone. And it turns out I was the one that messed up the microphone. So
I don't know if the part about
Taylor,
I don't think the part about my microphone I made in the episode.
I didn't. Oh, you cut it out?
I think I cut it out.
Oh.
So
Well,
you
then-
don't need to apologize because no one
Regard.
knows.
Let's start over. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Colin.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm the star of the show, Jared.
And we have a doozy in store for you today. Before we begin, news of the day. Taylor, what do you got?
Let's see.
It's Thanksgiving.
It
Are
is
you
Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Wow, that took a long time.
Wow.
I was gonna say I'm drinking peach slush right now. It's really good. Just had some wings again.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good night. Don't got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Jared, any news you want to add?
Oh, I said it was Thanksgiving.
Okay, well, we'll just ignore the fact that Michigan got their first dub of the season. But
All of our
Trying not
listeners
to get too high on the Michigan
don't
thing.
care
that's
about
true.
Michigan.
They don't care about Michigan.
Our hundreds and thousands of listeners
In the
all
empire,
across the world,
in the empire that we've created.
and the empire we've created. Listeners in India, I see you. I know you're there. Listeners in the UK, I see you. I know you're there. I can see where you're listening from. Australia.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, we are covering chapter 6 through 8 in this, as you know, because you're listening to it. Jared, hit us with that 30-second summary. Go.
All right, chapter 6, in divination class, Harry gets an omen of death. And Harry rides that horse bird, a hippogriff. Chapter 7, we have a class with Professor Lupin and learn about boggarts. And Lupin... Boggarts?
Yeah, Bogarts.
Bogarts.
Boggarts? Huh. They'll probably ask me that again. And Lupin does not allow Harry to have a go with this boggart. Chapter 8. The fat lady that guards the Gryffindor common room flees from Sirius Black. At least that's according to Peeves.
Oh, I sense some doubt.
Yeah. You
Oh,
don't
you
get
know,
doubters?
I'm doubtful about everything in this book.
All right. Well, let's dive right into it. Chapter 6, Talons and Tea Leaves. We last left off with everyone getting back to Hogwarts and the Dementors and Harry finally getting to bed. The next morning, Harry comes down to breakfast and Malfoy is mocking him about his little fainting spell from the Dementors, and Fred and George try to cheer him up a little bit. Just then, Hermione comes and they compare class schedules, and Hermione's class schedule is just packed. She has 3 classes scheduled at once, and I think 3 more classes than Ron and Harry. You might want to fact check me on that. But she said she's fixed it with McGonagall, and they'll drop it, and they all drop it. Then Hagrid walks in and briefly...
She must do some remote learning or something.
Yeah?
Via Zoom?
Yeah. Probably.
Then Hagrid walks in and briefly talks about how excited he is for the first class. And then the squad heads off to divination for the first class of the year, I think.
Yeah.
On their way to divination, they get lost, and a little knight in a painting helps them find their way. Jared, what was this knight's name?
I don't even remember.
Don't remember.
What?
He was the one who was trying to get the sword out of the ground, right?
Is this the first time we really learn that paintings move around? I know we learned about it
No,
briefly mentioned, but this is the first time that
that they can go between.
you really see them moving around and interact with them.
Right, that they can go to other paintings.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
It's on the top
Yeah,
of one.
Jared, I'm not
160,
surprised.
167, Jared.
His name is Sir Cadogan.
Okay.
I don't know how it's.
I think it's
pronounced.
Cadogan.
Cadogan.
Sir Cadogan.
Oh,
But I could be wrong. Cadogan does seem right with the vowels and how, you hard vowel if it's a vowel after one letter. And
just stop.
Yep. All right. So they come up to a trap door and they climb up and they make it to their first divination class. So this is the real one I want. Jared, who teaches this class?
Sybil.
Okay, what's her last name?
Sybil Trelawney.
That's not bad.
Trelawney. That's how
Hey,
it's
there you
spelled.
go. That sounded better.
Trelawney.
It's Trelawney.
Oh,
That's right.
Trelawney.
Trelawney.
Sybil Trelawney.
So, where are we? So Professor Trelawney goes on her little monologue about the class, and she makes a few predictions. Page 104. Taylor, hit us with some of those.
Oh, I gotta be Sybil?
Yes. Oh, wait. Jared's our female
I
voice.
thought Jared was...
Jared's our female voice actor, so maybe we should have Jared do it.
But she's supposed to be super mystical. I severely doubt Jared's ability to... pull
Yeah,
a
let's
good
have
Sybil.
Taylor
No,
do it.
let's have Jared do it. Jared, give it a go.
Come on.
She's like an old lady, right?
Yep.
Or something like this.
Professor.
I picture her, she's just whispering.
Yes, that
In
would
the
be...
second term, we shall progress to the crystal ball. If we have finished with fire omens, that is. Unfortunately, classes will be disrupted in February by a nasty bout of flu. I myself will lose my voice, and around Easter, one of our number will leave us forever.
That's pretty good, Jared.
It was good. Jared, what do you think of those predictions?
I think that's a pretty easy prediction.
Think so?
What about the last thing she predicts there? Where someone will leave them forever.
Yeah, forever.
That means nothing. I don't know.
Okay.
Forever?
One of our number will leave us forever.
It means they're gonna die, Jared.
Yeah, then they become a ghost.
Oh.
Then they don't leave you.
Not everyone becomes a ghost.
We didn't get that far yet. Okay. Well,
Anyways, if you
so-
leave them forever, I would think you'd be a muggle and you died. So maybe a muggle died.
One of our members. One of our number.
Yeah, maybe is there...
So people,
There's
someone
no
in the
muggles at
classroom.
Hogwarts.
Could there be how do you know?
because they won't get invited to Hogwarts. Because I've read the whole series.
Just a thought.
Okay, hey, that's your thought. Is that a muggle's going to die? All right. So they then get into reading each other's tea leaves, and she accurately predicts that Neville breaks a cup. So then Harry's reading Ron's, and he predicts that Ron is going to suffer, but he's going to be happy about it. And as Ron is reading Harry's cup, Professor Trelawney takes it and reads that Harry has the Grim, which is a death omen, making this the third time that Harry has seen it. They then head to Transfiguration class with McGonagall, and she's teaching them about animagi. And
Who?
I wish you had Jared say that.
I should have had Jared say that. Shoot. Animagi. And she demonstrates to them as she transforms herself into a cat.
A human that looks like a cat. You remember that she could
I
do
do
that?
remember
You
that.
remember that she could do that?
That was like the first thing that I think I ever said.
Probably.
I think it might have been. And this gets no applause, so she kind of asks everybody what's up and what's going on. So they tell her about the death omen, and she pops off on Trelawney about how she predicts one death every year, and so far, nobody has died. So they then head down to lunch, and Ron asks Harry if he's seen a Grim before, and Harry tells them that he has, and Ron and Hermione get in the big old fight about if Harry's gonna die or not. Jared, what's your take on this?
My initial reaction is kind of like Hermione, that this is a bunch of hogwash. Like, she predicts the cup's gonna break. She could have made a magic wand that said "cuppity breakity-o," and then, boom, you know, the thing broke.
That is a good point. I did not think about
After
that.
she said it, he predicts the flu. Like, flu happens, so that, yeah. And I don't know. And the fact that nobody has died, but at the same point, I don't know why it's in the story if it doesn't, other than adding to the suspense.
What about the Grim? It's the third time now that you've seen the Grim.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
I don't know. Maybe. Could be, could be not. I don't know.
Could be magic.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, obviously, he's under threat, I would say. I don't know if he's going to die. Maybe he will.
Well, there's a few more books after this, so I don't think he's going to die.
Yeah,
Well, it
unless
could be
he somehow acted as a ghost.
Yeah, he doesn't know the titles.
Oh, that's right.
Could be Harry Potter's ghost, and that kind of give away what happened if you didn't, but okay. So Hermione then pops off about how boring divination was compared to her arithmancy class and storms off, leaving Ron and Hermione confused because she didn't have that class yet. After lunch, they head out to Care of Magical Creatures class, and it's with the Slytherins. Yay! No,
Yay.
okay.
We all love Slytherins.
Hagrid, I do. My wife's a Slytherin.
What? Really?
She is.
I still want to know what I am. Do I
We
like
are-
Slytherins? I like everybody, don't I?
You're a Hufflepuff.
You're Hufflepuff,
Yeah.
Jared.
So you're friendly
Yeah, I am.
You're an old duffer.
and you like food.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Your house mascot is a yellow badger.
Honey Badger don't care.
So Hagrid leads the class over to a paddock and tells them to open the book,
What's a paddock?
which no one knows how. Isn't it like a what are those things that horses run around in?
Is that what that is? A paddock?
I pictured that in my head,
Oh, okay.
kind of like a fenced off area, or
Sure.
maybe it's
Yeah,
an open
paddock.
area in the woods.
I always thought of horses when I thought of paddock.
I don't know.
So let's see. And he tells them to open the book, which no one knows how. Hagrid tells them that they just need to stroke it, and the book will open. So all the students start stroking the book, and it opens for them. So Hagrid then heads off to get the magical creatures, and on his way back, one specific individual started making a bunch of ruckus. Jared, what does he say?
Malfoy?
Welcome to Merlin Owen's Magical Creatures podcast within a podcast.
I was ready for that at a different point, and I was going to do the same thing. I was going to yell, "Crikey!"
Got him again!
After being petrified, I couldn't think of a better way to get out and stretch my wings, as they say. Looks like we have some beautiful hippogriffs. These creatures have the front legs, wings, and head of a giant eagle, and the body, hind legs, and tail of a horse, which is just astonishing. There's a 3X creature, which means that competent wizards should have no problem with them. But don't let that fool you. These are very proud creatures, and disrespect might leave you... what? Let me say that again. These are very proud creatures, and disrespect might leave you like a fish out of water, or in this case, a torn up, bloody, and basically dead fish. However, if you do manage to gain a hippogriff's respect, they will be fiercely loyal and keen to protect you at all times. That's all I got for now, though, so take care and enjoy this class. Thank you, Merlin.
She might be appearing again. I'm going to be prepared for this one.
So yeah, Hagrid comes back with a few hippogriffs. And Merlin's really giddy about it, but the lesson begins. He tells them to approach a hippogriff, or to approach a hippogriff, you need to bow, and if it bows back, then you can approach it. So Harry volunteers for Hagrid to be the first to try and approach the hippogriffs, and Hagrid grabs Buckbeak. So Harry steps forward, bows, and it takes a little bit, but Buckbeak bows back, and Harry can step forward and pet him. So he does, and then Hagrid just goes, "All right, let's ride him now," and just plops him on Buckbeak's back, and he takes off.
Just like that, you can just ride this extremely dangerous creature.
Wait, wasn't it only a 3-star?
3X.
It's a 3X so that a wizard could handle it, but that doesn't,
Mean it's not dangerous?
yeah, it doesn't mean it's
What
not
was a
dangerous.
5-star? 5X.
You'd have to ask Merlin.
Oh.
He's gone.
What was that spider?
He went back to the
Merlin, what
castle.
was that spider?
I think
He's gone already, Jared. Jared, he's gone. He's going to take his next dose of Mandrake.
I think...
Yeah, I think the spider and the dragons were 5. I think those are the only 2 5s we had so far. I think a phoenix actually might have been a 5 because they're hard to tame. Or impossible to tame. I don't know.
I want a phoenix.
I do too. So, back to the story. So Harry and Buckbeak, they do a lap around the paddock, and they come back, and everyone else starts trying, and Malfoy even gets to pet Buckbeak. But then he calls Buckbeak a big, ugly brute, and Buckbeak lashes out at him and claws his arm. And then Malfoy responds, page 118, Taylor.
I'm dying. I'm dying. Look at me. It's killed me. You're not dying. Someone help me. Gotta get him out of here.
So Malfoy is dying.
Literally dying.
Literally, it's actually physically killed him at this point, as he said.
So theoretically, cover of this story has Buckbeak on it,
Allegedly.
only because it's gray, and I think Buckbeak was gray, and there's like 17 other colored horses.
Okay.
Horse
Good point.
things.
Good deduction.
Harry's riding Buckbeak, so he obviously earned Buckbeak's trust. And Malfoy obviously didn't earn Malfoy's trust. So maybe
Malfoy didn't earn Malfoy's trust.
Malfoy
He
didn't
did,
earn,
but then he insulted it.
didn't earn Buckbeak's trust. Maybe this comes back later.
Oh, hot take from Jared.
Hot take.
Oh, maybe
Little smug
Buckbeak's
look on his
important.
face. He's
I
so
wonder if
happy about
Buckbeak's
himself.
important.
Okay, so the class ends and everyone is worried that Hagrid might now get fired from that little incident with the hippogriffs. So Jared, what do you think about Hagrid's first class and hippogriffs in general?
Hippogriffs seem useful. Most useful creature about that I've had so far behind the Phoenix. Because the spiders, they didn't seem very useful.
No.
And dragons could be useful, but they seem too powerful. This seems like your neighborhood friendly hippogriff.
It's like a horse.
Yeah,
It's like
you
a
know,
horse
like
in
a
the
horse.
Wizarding
Friendly
World.
neighborhood hippogriff.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Friendly neighborhood hippogriff.
Okay.
As far as class, I don't really ever.
All right. So later that day, it gets dark and they go to visit Hagrid, and he's all out of sorts. It seems that he's been drinking a bit and lamenting that he'll be fired. And the squad tries to comfort him a bit, and then he comes to his senses and he chews out the trio for letting Harry walk around the grounds after dark. Chapter 7, The Boggart in the Wardrobe. So this chapter kicks off in double potions, and Malfoy is milking this injury for all it's worth. He says that because he can't use his arm, that Ron and Harry have to do all his potion stuff for him, and he tells them that his father isn't too happy about what happened, and Hagrid doesn't have long at the school.
What authority does Malfoy's father have anymore?
A lot.
Well, he's not part of the Board of Governors, but I think he said something to the Board of Governors. Because I thought that same thing when I was reading the book. I was like, he got kicked off the board because
He did?
because
Yeah,
Dumbledore
right at the
kicked him
end.
off.
Oh, that's right.
Where
Well, I mean, he's still a parent of a student, so and he's got that going for him.
and he's rich.
And he's rich, and his kid got hurt. So, I mean,
Let's see, where is that though? He complained to the school governors in the Ministry of Magic. I guess he's got a lot of influence, you know. So it doesn't say why he does, but you could probably just assume money or for status. I don't know. Yeah, so class continues, and Seamus asks them if they've heard about the sighting report of Black, quote, not too far from here. And Malfoy chimes in a bit on page 127.
am I Malfoy?
You are Malfoy.
He's just a whiny boy.
That's why we chose you for it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of trying to catch Black single-handed, Potter?
Yeah,
that's right. Oh, you're Harry, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course, if it was me, he said quietly, I'd have done something before now. I wouldn't be staying in school like a good boy. I'd be out there looking for him. What you talking about, Malfoy? What are you talking about, Malfoy? Don't you know, Potter?
Know what?
Maybe you'd rather not risk your neck. Want to leave it to the Dementors, do you? But if it was me, I'd want revenge. I'd hunt him down myself.
Yeah, and as Harry's asking what he's talking about, Snape calls the end of class. And it leaves Harry to wonder what Malfoy meant about wanting revenge.
What do you think, Jared?
I thought about this while I was reading, and I could not come to a clear, concise thought.
So just
Because
spitball
it seems like obviously Malfoy knows more. And I don't know how Malfoy knows more. Like, if he would be in cahoots with the other side. Or if...
Well, he's in Slytherin, so it's likely.
Or if...
All Slytherins are bad.
Bruh,
Sorry.
my wife is a Slytherin.
Oh, your wife's bad. Sorry, what were you saying?
Or if Malfoy's dad wants him to... I don't know. I was trying to think of what's the benefit to Malfoy if Harry is out of school chasing this guy.
Okay.
And the one thing would be death. But I don't know how much Malfoy... I mean, I just keep coming back to, like, earlier they had compared Malfoy to Snape or whatever, and Snape and Harry's dad didn't get along or something like that.
Okay.
But they're still somewhat decent humans or decent wizards.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Malfoy is a totally terrible person or if he's just being annoying. So that's why
he
I
is
ran
13
myself in
years old.
circles.
He's 13. So.
You can't compare these people to 13.
Is he 13? Are they 13 this year?
11. Okay.
So that's probably part of it. Just the fact he's a 13-year-old. But
Yeah. Anyways, also another thing that happens in this class, Hermione helps Neville with his potion, and she gets in trouble for it. But when they are leaving class, Ron is lamenting Hermione helping Neville because I think she lost some points. But they turn to see her, and she's gone. And then she showed up again at the bottom of the stairs, out of breath because she had forgotten something. And she's also carrying a bunch of books, and Ron gets the feeling that she's not telling them something. Jared, do you have any thoughts on that?
Hermione's obviously not telling people everything. She's taking 15 classes at one time, and we never hear more about that. Then she drops these books with Malfoy and stuff running past her. We never hear anything more about this. What else is happening? I don't know. Obviously, Hermione's not telling us the whole full story.
what is the full story? What do you think the full story is?
She's trying to hide something.
Oh,
Fascinating take.
very fascinating.
What she's hiding? The fact that she doesn't belong.
What?
What?
I don't know.
What does that even mean? That sounds deep.
Okay.
That she's a muggle. Isn't she a muggle, half?
She's all muggle.
She's all muggle?
Yeah.
What?
She is a muggle born.
100% muggle.
Her parents are dentists, remember?
She's a mudblood.
Maybe
Remember
she's a
that word?
muggle that is in Hogwarts.
What'd you say?
Maybe she's a muggle that's in Hogwarts.
No, because she can do magic.
She's a witch.
Yeah, but she can't do... She's a bookworm.
She can do magic. She's done magic.
She did the magic.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, she did
You
that.
remember magic? She can do magic.
Remember the one when they were in the Devil's Snare, and she did magic there.
So how come... So
Remember
she's
that?
all this book knowledge and she's very, very smart.
Yeah.
This is going to come back eventually where she can't do something or something.
Okay.
We keep getting fed all this. She's so good in class. And she knows all this stuff. And she gives, what's his name, the ingredients. And she knows this. And she always raises her hand first. It just doesn't seem like that's just part of the story. It's going to come back to bite us in the rear end eventually here. Wait, all I'm saying is that you guys said these 3 chapters are very interesting. And a lot happens in these 3 chapters. But for a person who reads it for the first time, it's not that interesting. Because I feel like there's a lot of setup for you guys in the future.
Yeah.
But for me, there's like really nothing happening
Yeah,
in these
that's
chapters.
that is 100% true.
You keep asking me all these takes, but it's like I don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
There's like all this setup of all this stuff going on. Anyways, that's my summary take of all the stuff that you guys have said so far.
About the Hermione thing.
Yep.
Okay.
That is a very fair point, Jared.
Yep, it is. So next is Defense Against the Dark Arts with Professor Lupin, and he says it's a practical lesson today. And he takes them down the hall, and they run into Peeves, where Lupin uses what spell, Jared? It's the one with the
Wadiwasi.
yes. And what does it do?
It shot a shot a wad of chewing gum right up Peeves' left nostril.
That could. Okay.
Did we miss ridiculous? Is that
No, we didn't do that yet. We're not there.
That's not yet?
No.
Oh.
We didn't get to the lesson yet. So they head into the staff room where they run into Snape. And he warns Lupin about Neville. But Lupin actually sticks up for Neville a bit and says he's going to help him with the first part of the lesson. So Lupin leads them to an old wardrobe and tells them there's a what in there, Jared?
A boggart.
Is it Boggart?
Boggart.
I think it's boggart. That's not bad. So he then asks what a boggart is, which is what, Jared?
A shape shifter.
Okay, what does it shift its shape to?
Whatever it thinks will frighten you the most.
Okay.
What does it look like when it's not in front of someone?
Nothing.
No one knows.
No one knows. So basically, to me, he said they'd like to hide like under the bed in dark spaces. So kind of like the boogeyman, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
It is the monster under
the
the bed.
monster under the bed. And then we learn what defeats a boggart is laughter. So the spell to defeat it is.
Not a clue.
You just said it.
Wadiwasa was the one.
No.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, man. So Lupin instructs everyone to find their biggest fear and think of a way to make it comical. So Harry thinks of Voldemort, but then he switches to a Dementor and Lupin opens the door. And the boggart goes around changing to everyone's fear, with Ron's being a giant spider. And when it gets to Harry, what happens, Jared?
Lupin does something with it, right?
Yes, Lupin jumps in front and it turns into a floating silver orb. So he ridiculouses it, and then Neville finishes off the boggart once again, and it is destroyed?
Neville just being...
Disintegrated? What happens to it? It's like
It sounded like it imploded.
so they
Vaporized.
okay.
So it's dead. Neville killed the boggart.
Yeah, okay, good job, Neville. So Harry didn't get a chance, and he starts to wonder why, but everyone else is excited about how it went and doesn't pay too much attention to this. And then The chapter ends with Ron teasing Hermione about what her boggart would have been. And what does he say?
She gets a 9 out of 10 or something.
Yeah, like a 9 out of 10 on Homer. So, okay.
And also Harry, why? I mean, like, for real, does he think any deeper about what it could have been his, whatever you call it, symbol on top of the what the boggart would have turned into?
Oh, his return. Yeah, I don't know. But I got a few questions here first that we can unpack this a little bit. So first, Taylor and Jared, what
would
your boggart be?
I seriously am on Ron's train, like a massive spider. Yeah, get that thing out of here.
Massive bee.
Oh yeah, that is.
I'd be
perfect.
running the other way, man.
That is so scared
That
of
is
bees.
so true.
I'm so scared of bees. I
think a spider. I mean, that's terrifying. A massive spider.
Mine would probably be a spider or a snake.
Snake? Really?
Giant snake, dude. I can't do snakes. I cannot do snakes.
Yeah, snakes. Snakes are fine.
I guess
I think I saw a big spider.
I've never actually held a snake or anything, so maybe if I held one, it'd be fine. I don't know, but
No, I don't like spiders either. Especially a massive one.
yeah.
So
okay. So what do you think about Jared? What do you think about Lupin not letting Harry get his chance?
Seems smart to me.
Because you don't.
I mean, who knows what Harry's could be?
Well, who knows what anyone's could be? So here's my question about that. Like, he doesn't let Harry do it because it could be Voldemort, right? That's what we learn later on. But like, that could be anyone's fear. Right? Like, the greatest dark wizard of all time could be Voldemort, or it could be everyone's, like, a lot of people's biggest fear, right?
It seems like it's something that actually happens in the person's life.
Yeah.
Like,
well, some of them were like zombies and like a disembodied hand and stuff. Like, well, so it's weird to me because it's like, okay, so it's a boggart and it turns into like what your biggest fear is. So don't you think there'd be like a lot of like subtle like Voldemort sightings or something, and then people not realizing it's a boggart, it's actually Voldemort, it's not Voldemort, Like, you think there'd be a bigger deal about this?
here's my thoughts. You're thinking about it too much. And it's
No, you gotta unpack this stuff. Like, okay, here's the other question: Why would he be so worried about people seeing a boggart that's Voldemort? Like, what would these boggarts do? Like, so it turns into a giant spider and walks towards you. Is it gonna? Can it actually?
That's a good point.
Can it pincer you?
Can it actually kill you?
Because like, if it turns into Voldemort and it's, all of a sudden Voldemort with full power right in front of you,
Or
like,
is it like it's probably just a mirage?
right? So it's like, could it actually do something to you?
And they're probably. I would
it's
imagine.
gotta be able to do something to you.
I imagine they're pretty rare too. What you think?
Well,
It's not
monster in the bed.
I guess.
I don't know. I just thought about it a little bit. Like, I never thought about it like this much before, till I had to do it in this sort of format that we're doing.
That's true.
And it's like, it doesn't really make sense.
Nope. Here's what you gotta
Magic.
think. Magic.
Here you
It's
gotta
just
think. I'm a
magic.
13-year-old kid. It's magic. It makes
This is a
sense.
13-year-old's book.
Okay.
Oh, then there's a couple of them. Because isn't there later on we learn about the creature that's in the water that gets people that wade in too deep or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of that thing?
It's just a creature. What's the point of a mosquito? I mean, it's just a
There's
creature.
just magical creatures, Jared. This is a whole new world. A whole new fantastic point of view.
Copyright. Sponsored by Disney. There it is. All right, okay, I got a few more questions here.
Oh, wow.
So, Jared.
Still.
Yeah. What did you think about Lupin's fear of silver orbs? What did you attribute that to?
I didn't even think about it.
Well, think about it now. What do you think? What is it?
What?
Why would you be scared of a silver orb?
Or as Pansy put it, a fortune-telling globe. Whatever.
Crystal ball.
Crystal ball.
I don't know. He's scared of something. Scared of the future.
Oh?
Okay. Could be. I like that.
Isn't he about to die? Or
He
I don't
is
know.
a little worse.
He's got
for it.
issues.
He's
man.
pretty tattered and sick.
Yeah.
We find out later he's sick.
Yeah, and then he drinks Snape's potion.
Yeah. Wait, you're jumping way too far ahead.
Yeah,
Jared.
well,
Come on.
I'm
What
just
at
trying
this
to
point?
put pieces together here. You know of what I know. You getting chewed out for it.
At this point, Jared, what did I mean? What was your? What's
I
your take
didn't.
on
I
Lupin?
had.
No,
I
what's your
didn't-
take on Lupin, like as a person, as a character in this book?
Seems like Rowling is trying to paint him as a good person.
He's a good guy.
good defense of the arts person.
Okay.
Whether or not that changes after he drinks potions or other things, that is to be determined. But it seems like he's a good person. At least that's my initial thought.
Okay.
But my initial thoughts are always wrong. I should just do the opposite and say, he's a bad person.
So you think Lupin's bad?
Nope, he's good.
Okay. I actually am curious of this. What's your current stance on where Snape's at? Is he good or bad? I don't remember.
I think I think my last stance was that he was good.
Okay.
Yeah, before
I
you
think-
completely fell for the red herring in the first book.
Okay. I think that's what I thought I remembered. Just wanted to double
Yeah,
check.
because was that in the second book there wasn't much Snape focus as Snape's bad.
No.
It was more Malfoy, and then
Yeah, and I think you did say Snape's good. Okay.
at the end of the first book, yeah.
All right. So that brings us to chapter 8, the final chapter of this episode, The Flight of the Fat Lady. So Defense Against the Dark Arts has quickly become everyone's favorite class in school, thanks to Lupin. And Care of Magical Creatures, unfortunately, has fallen from an exciting first class to boring, as Haggard has lost his confidence. But Harry has Quidditch to look forward to. Yeah.
Yay, Quidditch! Jared's favorite sport.
And the season had begun, which boosts his attitude. So they start practicing for Quidditch, and one night after practice, Harry trots back to a buzzing common room. And the reason for this is the first trip to Hogsmeade is next week, and everyone's excited, and Harry decides he's going to ask McGonagall about going. As their conversation is wrapping up, Scooch jumps out on Ron and his bag with Scabbers in it. And yet again, Scooch and Scabbers and Ron and Hermione are at each other's throats.
If you missed the last episode, Scooch is the same cat as Crookshanks.
Yes, it's Crookshanks.
And again, Crookshanks seems to have a role in this book.
Okay.
Why? I don't get it.
The next day at Transfiguration class, Lavender Brown is crying because her pet bunny died, which was a prediction that the thing she dreaded would happen on October 16th, just like Trelawney predicted.
Lots of pets in this book.
And Hermione tries to reason with her that it's a bunch of garbage, but she's not having it. Jared, what are your thoughts on what this happened or what this
I was
could
with
imply?
Hermione.
You are with Hermione?
Yep.
Okay.
All coincidence.
You could make something bad out of anything, really. For the most part.
Okay.
Maybe she really liked that rabbit, Jared.
Maybe she did, and maybe it's not a coincidence. But at this point, I'm with Hermione. Until maybe the next chapter. Then maybe I won't be. But who knows?
So, after class, Harry goes to ask McGonagall about signing his Hogsmeade slip, but she unfortunately turns him down. So, that weekend, as they all go off to Hogsmeade, Harry is just wandering around, wondering what to do, and eventually he runs into Lupin, who calls him into his office. So, Harry walks into his office, and what is sitting in the corner, Jared?
Crikey!
No, it's a Grindylow. It's a Grindylow in the corner, Jared. So Harry walks in. There's a Grindylow in the corner. He turns his head and cries. Welcome to Marilyn Irwin's podcast within a podcast. I've been helping Professor Lupin here with this Grindylow. This small-horned, pale-green-skinned water demon is rated as a 2X creature, which means that they are harmless creatures and can be domesticated easily. However, they are usually domesticated by the mer people. These little terrors occupy the weeds at the bottom of lakes and are rumored to even be in the Black Lake here at Hogwarts. Also, although very rare, from time to time, they eat a witch or a wizard. So do
Whoa.
keep your guard up. Yeah, I know. Whoa.
2x. Oh,
But the real important lesson is here. Oh, can't even read. But the real important lesson to be learned here is that it is indeed a Grindylow in the corner of Lupin's office the first time they met. Never forget that. And Merlin sprints
Don't
out
worry
the
about
door.
it, Jared.
And Merlin sprints out the door.
what in the world?
Hey, you know what's funny is I did I have in my notes here. I have the first crikey's in there that you didn't get because I figured you might not get that one. Then I was like, he's gonna get this one.
Yeah.
So in my notes I put, "What's in the corner, Jared?" And then I have Jared says crikey's. And I put, "No, it's a Grindylow."
Well, you know me too well. I
That was
guess.
good though. That was good. You're catching
I
on.
think you got that one, Jared.
Yeah, I'll give that one to you.
Yes.
The first one. How many times have we seen Merlin so far?
I don't. It's got to be about 10.
It's got to be 10. And this is the first one you predicted.
So, all right. So Harry comes in for some tea and asks Lupin why he wouldn't let him do the boggart lesson. And Lupin says he was afraid it would turn into Lord Voldemort, as we talked about before. And then I have here my questions about what powers the boggart has. But we kind of covered that already, so we'll just jump over that. And so then we also find out that Harry's worst fear is what? Jared.
Fear itself.
Yeah.
Oh.
How cliche is that?
John F. Kennedy up in here.
What? Explain.
JFK?
Yeah.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
How can you fear fear?
Isn't John F. Kennedy you said
I think
that?
it might be, but what is what are those literature phrases? That,
Oh, it was FDR.
Cliche.
what?
Cliche.
No, it's like things that aren't actually things. Like,
Things aren't
like
actually
it's like
things.
logical fallacy, isn't that kind of like a logical
Paradox.
Paradox, yeah.
No, FDR said it, so it's true.
Okay. And he was the first one to ever say it, I'm sure.
I swear that it was JFK who said that.
Well, we don't swear, so.
I think it was JFK who said that. Jared, what was Harry's fear?
Fear itself.
Yeah, but what really was it?
It is fear itself.
A Dementor.
No, he says we find out that Harry's worst fear is fear itself because he can choose between what he's most scared of, which is kind of what Lupin told everyone to do. He said, think of something that would scare you. So if you can think of something and change what you think, doesn't everyone fear itself? I mean, I'm scared of falling into the toilet when I go to the bathroom, but I'm also scared of spiders. Does that mean I'm scared of fear itself?
Well, I think the idea is that Dementor is the embodiment of fear itself.
Whoa, really? Is that what this is supposed to be? I thought it was like he picked a Dementor instead of
No.
No, because that's what they
Dementor-
go. They talk about the fact that everybody goes crazy in prison.
Yeah, because it's an Azkaban. Because
so
they
prison,
suck
the people that are prisoners in Azkaban, their greatest fear would be Dementors. You think so? Their greatest fear is fear itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe, but
So you think a if a Dementor popped up, that'd be scarier than Voldemort popping up.
apparently to Harry it is.
But to most people, like
No.
I think Voldemort would probably be more of an embodiment of fear than
No, because
Dementor.
the effect of the Dementor is the fear.
Is it though?
Yes.
Oh,
And
I
the
guess.
cold and the fear, that's what happens.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's kind of where
I've never picked up on that like that. That's interesting. You learn something new every day.
I was an English major, so
You were not.
I wasn't.
Anyways, so Snape brings Lupin a potion to drink during this time and to help him make him feel better, which Harry thinks could be poison or something. Hint, hint, hint. Jared, do you think of anything about this?
I don't like getting carried away with these.
You
What do you think,
You
Jared?
said it in the summary. That's That's why I said hint, hint, hint. Like, I just have. Do you think anything about this potion?
There's something to it.
Good, bad,
But
otherwise?
it could be any of the above.
Well, so you think
It
Lupin's
depends
good.
on if Snape is good or bad or really bad. I don't know that either.
Okay.
It's more setup.
Or if Lupin's good or bad or otherwise.
Okay. Well, as at this point, we've established that you think Lupin's good and Snape's good, so therefore this is a harmless event, that exchange that occurred. So it's a peaceful transaction, as they say.
Sure.
God.
Put it like that. It
Rule of-
makes it sound like I gotta think about this a little bit
A
longer.
rule of threes, I needed one more saying. It's a kind-hearted conjecture. Nope. It's a... I got nothing.
Kind-hearted, non-conniving conjecture.
Is it a conjecture, though? I don't know. I'm getting too far into the weeds with this.
Yeah.
Gonna get Grindelow on me. Ooh, that was nice. So, yeah, okay, so Ron and Hermione get back from Hogsmeade and tell Harry all about it. And Harry tells them about this potion. And Harry also decides that it's been a good night all in all, and they head back to their common room. But there's a bit of a backup. So Percy squeaks through everybody and immediately calls for Professor Dumbledore. Dumbledore comes and the portrait of the fat lady has been ripped up. So Peeves informs them that the fat lady ran from her picture because she was ashamed. So Dumbledore asks why, and Peeve tells them.
Oh, yes, Professor Head. He got very angry when she wouldn't let him in, you see. Nasty temper he's got, that Sirius Black. Dun, dun, dun! Jared.
Yeah, so Jared, what about this now? It seems that Sirius Black has made his way into Hogwarts and to the Gryffindor common room, but he couldn't get in. What are your thoughts on this?
I think I agree with Peeves. I would say he's entered the building.
How'd he get in?
Magic.
And so he got in, he couldn't make it, and so he slashed up the portrait.
He is terrorizing Hogwarts.
Why?
Why do you think he wanted to get into the Gryffindor common room?
Well, the obvious answer would be Harry, but I don't know if you were trying to get me at that or not.
I mean,
Well.
Harry wasn't in there at the time, but he probably didn't know that. I was wondering if... I mean, it is the obvious answer. I just wanted to see if me asking the question made you think something different.
I could try and come up with something if you want me to.
No, that's good.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's all I had for this. Any other questions you wanted to plop in there, Taylor?
No.
So, all right, well, if that's that, then we can wrap it up. Jared, you got anything you want to add?
No, I kind of said my summary in the
Yeah.
middle of this.
Okay. Before we sign off, what are we covering next time? We used to do that, and then we didn't do that. I think it's just 2 chapters. So
Two chapters. Next 2 chapters.
Chapters 9 and 10 is what we're covering next time.
Chapters 9 and 10. Yep.
Okay, so those of you that are diligently reading along and waited for like 6 months for us to start the next book, like I know you're just waiting to read along with us here. So.
All those hundreds and thousands of followers
Yep.
out there.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us if you haven't already. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at KeepersPod. And if you want to take the next step in supporting the show, check us out on patreon.com/SecretKeepersPod. That is all for now, though. So until next time, we solemnly swear we'll be up to no good.
That might be your last time saying that.
I'm really confused.
Oh!
I'll still be up to good.
And scene.